Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Aquarius, and here I am with Translucent Truth Yoga to deliver you the weekly intuitive energy update for the week of January 23rd, 2023. So welcome if you have never been here before, and welcome back if you have. So every week I put out an energy update on Monday so that I can help everybody, including myself, especially myself, to understand the energies that are at play every week, okay? And it's just to help us to align and to understand what's going on up there so we can understand how it's reflecting down here. And actually, I'm going to do a lot of talking on that today because I think it's really important with everything that is going to come through today. I wanted to touch on a couple like universal laws and different things before I actually start getting into any astrology, because then as I talk about the astrology, what I explained prior to that is going to help you to understand it a lot more and to like really understand like what I'm talking about and not just like see where I get what I'm getting from. So that way you're not just thinking and pulling this out of nowhere. I want to actually create a communication line for yourself and myself as well, so that you can understand for your own self and you can look into astrology and different things and navigate on your own in your own intuitive way. So the way that these readings work is that they're timeless readings, and so what that means is that you can actually come back to these videos anytime that you feel that you need guidance, or even just want to listen to whatever it is that your higher self is calling you to listen to. And so you can go back to any of these videos at any time and just click within any of the videos and listen and see what it is that you are needing guidance with. And then over time I'll have a huge bank of basically oracle videos for you to go through, and I'm also going to be creating them as we go, so that way you can understand the energies that we're in as we are currently in them. Okay, so there's a lot that I have to cover this week because like we hit the reset button, guys. Like we actually hit the reset button. So, or the reset button got hit, okay? So I don't know, like it's like, where do I begin? I think I'm gonna begin just with the date, okay? So the date today is January 23rd, 2023. So January is a 1, we're in the 23rd day, and 2023, so we have 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6, and then plus 7 is 13, which equates to a 4. Now again, you don't have to follow all that, it's fine. Basically, numerologically, today is a 4, okay? And 4 is all about our foundation, all about our structure, right? So it's a very masculine energy. But interestingly enough, what we how we ended up with the 4 is with a 13, and 13 is the sacred, the divine feminine number, okay? And I'm going to be talking a lot about that. And funnily enough, this is actually I just wrote this down right before I started recording this, because I was like curious about what the energy was today, and so it was just more confirmation for everything that I've already tapped into and everything that I'm going to explain to you today, because 13 is that divine feminine number. Now I'm going to go into this. Well, I don't know how into it I'll go, but anyway, we are going from this masculine oriented world to incorporating more of the feminine. It's more of a wounded world, I should say, actually, to say it better. From a wounded world to a healed world. So we're taking these aspects of ourselves, the masculine and the feminine, and we're just healing these aspects of ourselves right now, okay? And they're opposites, and so they complement each other when they're healthy, and they actually they don't they resist each other when they're not, okay? And so this is what the duality and the polarity that we're going to be going into and understanding our own dynamics, as well as like the planet's dynamics and like understanding numerology. Everything can be divided into masculine and a feminine energy, right? And that's really like the goal here, the understanding to comprehend is that everything has two poles, everything has opposites, and they actually come together to create a whole. You can't have one without the other. That is a universal law that we're living in, right? And it's called the law of duality and the law of polarity. And when we want to go deeper into those laws, we look at the law of gender, which is masculine and feminine, which is again just a more detailed dance and understanding of the duality and polarity of the masculine and the feminine energies. Okay, so again, numerologically today is a 13, but that's not, you always go down to the smallest number. I'm just telling you that because that's important for today, as it's signifying the divine feminine awakening within. And then that goes to a 4, right? And so that 4 is that masculine, that is the foundation. So that foundation is being healed right now so that we can support the feminine within that, right? So again, like I'm gonna be going through this more. I just want to touch base to explain these concepts and these ideas and these understandings so that as I explain the astrology, you can use these universal laws and these understandings to really hear me, you know? Okay, so what is it that I would like to go into? Because I already touched that. So basically, what I have written here is like, I wanted to go through this universal law review. And I wanted to touch on the masculine and feminine. I wanted to touch on the law of duality and the law of polarity, okay? And I just did that really quick in that little channeled message, and then I'm gonna go deeper as I go through what I have. Because again, like it becomes repetitive, but it has to, because everything is that. And so the more that you can understand what it is, then actually the less repetitive it gets, because you're understanding what it is that's being said, right? Okay, so I want to talk about this whole idea of feedback loop of reality, okay? Because these are teachings that I've channeled in my own time as well as with friends to be able to understand and like really teach these principles, right? And so something that I understood and the way that I was able to understand it is that reality is just a feedback loop, right? So like something goes out and then something comes back. Something goes out, something comes back. And that's all that it is, whether it's food, whether it's a thought, whether it's emotion, whether it's people, whatever. It doesn't matter. It starts right here. This is where it begins. It goes out into the world and then it comes back. And that is what I call the feedback loop of reality, okay? And I just want to show you this. Oh, I think it's backwards, but that's okay. So again, so this is where you start and this is the loop, okay? This is the feedback loop that I'm referring to, and I'm showing you this for simplicity's sake so that you can understand what it is I'm saying easier, okay? Because what it is that you're putting out to the universe is coming back, okay? And so we get stuck in this loop, okay? So this is our lower consciousness loop, okay? And in order to break out of this loop, we hit right here. I call it a choice point, okay? So when we're looking at the feedback loop of reality, what are we putting out? What are we getting back? That's where we sit and we observe in this. What is it we're putting out? What is it we're getting back? Then we now realize, damn, we have a choice point and I can like choose different. I do not want this loop anymore. Get me out of the loop. There's the choice point. The choice point is to understand where it is that you're at and to rise above this loop that you're stuck in. Okay, so you're stuck in the loop, you realize you're in the loop, you now have a choice point. Your choice point is to rise above and choose something different. Okay, so then what happens is you now have, I put like a star like this, and then you now have a different reality. That's your new reality. And it's that simple, right? When we can understand it in the simplest of terms. And so what happens is we get out of this loop of consciousness by rising above through seeing our choice points and making different choices, creating a new reality. And then what happens is we start ascending. The loop then starts rising, and it starts having an incline, and then you start going higher and higher and higher and higher. And that is ascending reality, right? Okay, so we get stuck in these loops. We hit this choice point. We see, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. And then we choose different. And that's how you create a new reality. It's that simple. So like, this is how simple I want to make these universal laws so that we can understand this. And so I also have here the law of correspondence. And this is because this is exactly that law. And I'm going to get into that. I guess I already am getting into that. But what this law is, actually, here, I'm going to go to my other page then, because this is perfect. And this is the second Hermetic principle. It's the law of correspondence, which is as above, so below, as below, so above. So this is saying what must happen in the heavens must also occur on the earth. So relationship among the mind, body, and spirit. The higher is always the ruler of the lower. This is why your thoughts significantly affect what you do and vice versa. So basically, what I'm saying is that what is going on within, this is the above, heaven, is a projection, or outside is a projection of what's going on inside. So this whole feedback loop is the law of correspondence in action. So when we can understand, okay, this is what I'm putting out to the universe, and this is what I'm getting back. This is what I'm putting out. This is what I'm getting back. It's about slowing down. So we talked about with Mercury being retrograde and Mars being retrograde that we were in that really slow energy. So we were just visiting that energy with those retrogrades, and now they're direct again. So we're having this forward movement, but we're still being asked to keep that slow, intentional energy as we're moving through. And that way we're able to purify our energy field and to not keep manifesting things that we aren't actually wanting to manifest, because our field will be clear and we'll be able to know, like, what are my thoughts, what are my emotions, what is my intention, what's in my field, what has my energy, right? Things like this. Where do I need to give myself more energy? It was just 13-12 and then 13-13, right? And so again, it's about rising above. It's about integrating these higher understandings and these higher awarenesses. And this is this Aquarian energy coming through, right? Because it's all about that like innovative thought and forward thinking movement, being an individual, but also thinking about everybody, right? Thinking about the whole, but knowing that, but not losing your individuality in that, right? And so that is the law of correspondence, and that's how we can understand this feedback loop. So what is happening outside of us is a reflection of what's going on inside of us, okay? And so we can take this universal law and we can actually implement it in our lives by just slowing down and becoming the observer and realizing that you have choice points in your life, that I actually don't want to do that anymore. I actually choose different now. And that is how you start living a different life. Okay, and then I have here too, so like with this, I also wanted to use astrology as an example, because I just loved this. I loved how they took these two and married them. So So the law of astrology perfectly illustrates this law. Astrology works by observing the above, our planets and our stars, and comparing its effect on below, the earth, which is we're on the earth and we're experiencing how it's affecting the earth, right? And so we can go deeper on the earth and say that we are that. And so how is it affecting our mental body? How is it affecting our emotional body? How is it affecting our physical body? How is it affecting our sleep cycles? How is it affecting all of these different things? Because each planet governs different aspects of ourselves, right? And so when we can understand which aspects that they govern, then we can understand how they're influencing us, right? And as well as with each sign. So yeah, it's one thing to know what they govern, but then it's like, but what sign is it in? And that's how you can start using these moving energies when they're working together with each other to understand how they're affecting us. And again, like, that's why understanding the duality and polarity of the masculine and the feminine is so important, because then you can simplify your understanding in how energy works, right? You have the positive and the negative, you have the masculine and the feminine, you have one that's pulling, one that's pushing, one that's giving, one that's taking, and then within that dance, they're actually the masculine and feminine within that. So it's not that the masculine is just the masculine and the feminine is just the feminine, but they actually have the characteristics of each other within each other. That's the yin and the yang symbol, right? So it's about understanding this infinite dance at play. And when you can separate these energies to understand what their main energies are, and then you can understand how they play together, then you're able to understand another universal law, which is this expansion and this contraction energy, right? It's like when we're expanding, it's like it feels good and we're growing, and when we're contracting, it's like we're in our depression, we're in our sadness. And so when we can understand this cycle and rhythm, then when we're in our contraction, we can honor that, and we cannot run from it or hide from it or be afraid of it. And we can be like, it's okay, I'm just in my contraction phase. I'm just in the phase where I'm going within. It's okay, I'm not dying, I'm just renewing myself, right? And then after you go within, this is the law of correspondence. The depth that you're going to go within, the depth that you're going to heal yourself, is the farther out that you can expand. So the more work that you do in your contraction phase, the farther out you can expand in your expansion phase, right? And it's not a judgment if you don't want to do a lot of work when you're in that phase and you want to keep distracting yourself. That's okay. It's just that next time you come to the contraction phase, you're not going to have made it that much farther than when you were in your last contraction phase, because you didn't do the work because you didn't do the work to get your expansion phase, right? And so again, it's just, if when you understand these cycles and these rhythms and these universal laws, it gives you I guess it gives you the permission to be where you're at in the cycle, and to understand that it's not an end all be all because you're here right now, and that there's so much more beyond this moment, and that this too shall pass, right? This is the whole idea of practicing these things, is so that you can strengthen yourself and understand yourself and get to know yourself through each cycle and each rhythm, because you keep coming back to yourself in different energies, so that you can collect all the fractal aspects and understand them, right? So beautiful. So that is the law of correspondence. And then so I have, remember, the above rules below, just like the mental plane is always higher than the physical plane. So change what you think, change what you do, and change who you are. Okay, and then I will talk about that. So then I'm going to go into the Hermetic principles here, the law of mentalism. So this is the first law, and this is that all is mind, and that the universe is mental. So this means that all physical manifestations are rooted in the mental plane, which is the spiritual above material. To use this principle, you must think before you take action. So basically, this is what I'm saying before. I'm showing you guys this law because I'm trying to illustrate to you the importance of your thoughts, okay? And that they're not just thoughts, that they're actually energetic fields. They're energetic pulses that ripple through the universe. So your thought that you're having exists now within the universe forever, right? And that's what this is saying, is like, know that the power of your thoughts, because this is where your power comes from. So when you have your thoughts, then you manifest into into reality. And so this is why I was mentioning as well the feedback loop of reality. This is why I'm saying all this, because when we can understand this, that our thoughts, this is the conception of what materializes. And so what are you thinking is the question. What are you thinking is what you're manifesting. And not just that, it's actually what you're feeling, because your feelings are your subconscious mind, right? What you're thinking is your conscious mind, and what you're feeling is your subconscious mind. And so we actually manifest from our subconscious mind, which is our emotions. And so that's why it's important to create a connection between the head and the heart, to understand your emotions, right? You have to be able to quiet the mind, to surrender to the present moment, and to trust and drop into your heart center, so that you don't have this mental chatter all the time, and you're able to feel into what it is that is right for you. And that's called gnosis, right? Knowing, living from your heart center. And look, I have the roses and the skulls on here. That's a whole thing I'm not going to get into. But anyway, so when we can purify our mind, then we can purify our heart, and then we can manifest from a pure space, right? And so that is the mission, to purify the mind, to purify the heart, to purify the physical body, so that we can be clear conduits for source, right? For higher self, for the betterment of all, right? And so this law of mentalism is really important to understand, because again, like, this is also bringing in this understanding that we are all one, okay? That everything is connected, okay? So the law of oneness, the law of all, this is that the same essence creates all. So the source of all creation is the spirit of the all, the universal mind. The process of creation is the universal mind in motion. And the object of creation is the physical universe. So when we can understand these concepts, it was just 22:23 on the time. So when we can understand that all is mind, and that this is the place that we manifest from truly, which is actually deeper, is our heart center, right? And so we're learning how to drop into our heart center, to clear out, to purify any pain, any grief, any suffering, anything of that. I actually wrote a post today about emptying ourselves of our grief, of our pain, of our suffering, and to sit in that emptiness and to let it all go. And that's the space that you heal. And it was when you allow spirit to come back in you, and to remind you that you are love, and to remind you what bliss is, and to remind you of what you came here for, right? But the lessons are in the grief, are in the pain, are in the suffering. And that's the spiritual path, right? Is to realize that you need nothing, that you know nothing, that you are everything, that you know everything, right? That's the paradox. And so again, what are your lessons this lifetime? That's really what it comes down to. And so again, this choice point understanding, this feedback loop of reality, the law of correspondence, anything that's happening outside of you is just a reflection of what's going on inside of you. So how can you use this now to move through reality from this higher awareness? I want to rise above. I want to rise above. What do you think ascension is? Ascension is rising above, is always rising above, of always seeing the higher perspective, of always choosing better. Okay, it's not thinking that you are better, it's just choosing better. That's all that it is. Okay, gorgeous. So the physical body is our dwelling space for spirit. Our body is our temple. I'm bringing that one back. Okay, and I think that's good now. Oh yeah, no, I loved that. Okay, I gotta just go over this real quick, and then I'm gonna get into the astrology. So we have here, this was just a nice little fun kind of drawing that I did. And so this is the choice point, right? I have present moment. So this is the choice point I'm talking about. This is when we're in our loop and we decide we want to rise above. Okay, so we have our thoughts, which are the invisible, which is spirit. And then we have our actions, which is the visible, the things that we can see, that we know that we can change. So if you're like, I don't really get it. How do I do this, Aurora? How do I navigate this? So what I'm doing here is I'm showing you. And so what it is having the awareness. So I'm going to go back just to give you guys this again. So again, this is the loop. This is getting caught in the loop. This is getting caught in the loop. This is a choice point, aka the awareness, right? To rise above. Okay, and that is how you change your reality. That's how you change what it is that's happening in the action. Okay, so what's going on in the action? How can I see what's going on in the action? And how that is reflecting back to me my thoughts. And so watch the action and then watch your thoughts. That's the awareness. See the action, that's the visible. Observe your thoughts. That's the invisible. So how can you rise above? Observe the action. Oh wait, is that what I said? Awareness, thoughts. Okay, yeah. So observe the action, see the action, because you can see the action in the physical. So, okay, you see the action, it keeps happening. Like, oh, why does this keep happening to me? Why does this keep happening to me? Why does this keep happening to me? Hey, look, why does this keep happening to me? There's the action. Choice point is there. Now you have the awareness. Why does this keep happening to me? Why does this keep happening to me? Now I know, okay, here it is. I can see. That is the action. That's what I can see. Now, how do I change it? Right here. Now I go within myself. Now I go within and I go, okay, what thoughts have I been having? What feelings have I been feeling? And how did that manifest this? How can I take responsibility for my thoughts and for my feelings so that I can take responsibility of what's going on outside of me, so that way I can clean up my mess and not keep experiencing the same things, right? So notice the hidden interactions between the unmanifested and the manifested. So our inner rules our outer. The unseen, the energetic, rules the seen, the material. The spiritual rules the material. Thoughts and emotions rule over our actions, okay? And so to close this off, the 7 Hermetic principles these are rules and regulations, they're created, that man cannot create these. So let me back up. The 7 Hermetic principles are universal laws that man cannot create. That's what I want to say, okay? So these are universal laws that man cannot create, nor can man escape, okay? And so we need to learn to live within the parameters of these laws to our most benefit, right? So man can only make rules and regulations, but the laws that we follow are above us, right? So meaning that these universal laws that govern us will always overrule the man-made laws, which is obvious, but again, that's why it's so important to understand these, right? So law is the process by which the unmanifest becomes manifest, the observer becomes the observed. What we call life, matter, and energy are simply the manifestations of the unmanifest. So that's why I believe it's really important to understand these universal laws so that we can use them in a practical way to take something from the ether, something from nothing, right? And create and manifest such a beautiful world. Because once we can get that clear connection to source, 5D, we've healed our mental body, our emotional body, our physical body, and then they can align and they can merge together and unify, and we can enjoy our bliss body again, finally, right? 2929. So balancing out the scales, and it is the ending and the beginning. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the astrology. So there's quite a bit here, but again, I am gonna try to kind of go through it relatively quick because it does get repetitive. But I want to make sure that we understand what's going on up there, because it is very significant now that we just had this whole half an hour session on understanding these universal laws, right? And the importance of astrology and the influence on us. So I'm just gonna get a drink. All right. So I just got a lot of words here. I'm just gonna read them and kind of take bits and pieces out as I need to. Okay, so this is a review from last week. Basically, most of it's a review from last week, because all planets are moving direct right now, and we're not in a full moon or a new moon energy, and so we're in this transition energy from last week still, which is going to be, again, like projecting us forward into the next 3 months of a lot of beautiful forward moving energy that's going to support us again in that Aquarian energy, right? So it's like, it's about having, it's focusing on the whole, but not losing our individuality. I think that's the best way that I like to describe Aquarius, because they're very humanitarian. They want to include everyone. They want to be inclusive, and they want the community aspect, but they also are like their own individuals. And so they want to make sure they're not going to lose their individuality, while like they want to make sure they're not conforming. Basically, they always want to be original, right? And so that's the energy that we're moving into, right? Okay, so we have Aquarius. Oh, and it was a super new moon as well, guys. So a super moon is just when it appears closer in the sky due to where it is, and so we actually are receiving more energy, and it appears closer due to where it is, and so we're receiving more energy. We actually can't see this new moon because it's the dark moon, which means there is no light, but it's significant to understand that it actually was closer to the earth, making it a super new moon. So it wasn't just an Aquarius new moon, it was an Aquarius super new moon. Okay, so the energies are stronger. It's also the first new moon of 2023. This is significant because when I first got on here and I was talking like, hey, we hit the ultimate reset button. This is why, because all of what I'm about to say has to do with this reset button being hit, right? And so it's Aquarius, it's a new moon. There's the reset, and it's a super new moon. So now let's amplify that already double reset. Now, to make it even more of a reset, it's actually in 1 degree of Aquarius. And not only that, this is the third new moon that's been at 1 degree. There's 5 new moons that are going to be at 1 degree. We're at the 3rd out of 5. So the last 2 new moons that were in 2022 were in 1 degree of their signs. This is Aquarius at 1 degree of its sign, and the next 2 new moons will also be at 1 degree. Now, this is significant because, again, astrologically and numerologically, this is showing us, this is confirmation and validation that we've just hit reset, right? And so, like, all of these resets here with this Aquarian energy, with the new moon energy, with the super moon energy, all of this is bringing that momentum, shooting us forward into, again, building our communities without losing our sense of individuality. So I have here that Aquarius is an air sign. So you'll be looking at things with a new perspective. Consider life and decisions from a new lens, welcoming breakthroughs, change, and being open to shift with that number 1 and new moon energy. Trust your intuition and follow your heart. So yeah, so that's the other message here too, is like trusting your intuition and following your heart instead of your mind. Which is the logical side of things, which is what we're programmed to like play it safe into. Like you're really being asked to take the leaps of faith right now from a heart-centered place, right? And trust your intuition, trust these nudges, trust the feelings that feel good that are guiding you. Stop following the fear and start trusting this magnetic pull that you feel from your heart. Okay, so Aquarius rules the mental plane as it's an air sign. So media, information, and data. Be aware of media, information, and data that you are coming in contact with. So keep toxic or unhelpful energies out. So stop connecting in with the external world because it's got a lot of power on you right now, okay? Because your inner world is so busy right now trying to figure out who it is and what's going on. It doesn't need that influence of the media, of this external information, of all of these voices that aren't yours. And so what you're being called to do now is to tune into your higher self, your higher mind, your intuition, your genius, your heart. Okay, quiet spaces, silence, where you can hear the whispers of your higher self come through, of your intuition, okay? Because you're going to be rapidly transforming information coming in. That's what I'm hearing. We will be rapidly transforming information that is coming in. And so what that means is that you better be aware of the information that's coming in, which is why I just spent, it was just 36, the first half an hour of this video teaching you guys about the universal laws, because this is key, guys. This is so key in doing this work. It's not about doing the work. It's about understanding universal laws and higher understandings and greater awarenesses, okay? Like the spiritual foundation for people is crumbling right now. And so that's why we're being asked to stop plugging into these external communities and experiences and to really go within right now and listen to that voice that's been guiding you, that you haven't been trusting, that you don't really think is good for you. Slow down and trust the voice that's good for you. Okay? Stop taking in the information that is confusing you. Okay, and then significantly, we had Uranus stationing direct on January 22nd, and that Aquarius super new moon was actually on the 21st. And so we had that Aquarius super new moon on the 21st, which was Saturday, and then Sunday we had Uranus stationing direct. And then previously to that, we had Mercury stationing direct, and the week before that, we had Mars stationing direct. Now, all of this is significant because all of those energies that we've been feeling so tired and drained and pulled down are now direct, okay? All planets are actually moving direct. So Mars is all about taking action, forward movement, being able to connect in with your passion, with your drive, with your forward movement energy. Mercury is all about communication lines. So being able to understand what's going on with your communication lines within yourself and then how those are being shown to you externally, right? And so with that Mars energy and that Mercury energy moving forward now, meaning our communication lines and where we're going to take action is opening up. With this Aquarius super new moon energy, we're learning how to disconnect from anything that isn't good for us anymore, that isn't serving us, that doesn't feel good. We're taking time to go within ourselves and to ask ourselves, what do we want? What do we need? What do we desire? What do I want to do next? And then we're going to plug back in to communities, to people, but only from a very refined perspective and understanding of what it is that's serving us. And if it's not that, then we don't allow it. And that's the choice point. That's when we're taking that choice point to the next level. And we're saying, okay, if I have this much power, then I'm going to choose to use it in a way that is going to help myself, to give myself a healthy life, to overflow my cup to others, so that we can stop living in a world that is in lack, scarcity, fear, to a world where we're all thriving and able to support and love each other. When we see someone suffering, we can go and say, holy shit, are you all right? Instead of walking by them and not even acknowledging that they're a fucking human. You know, this is the kind of shit that is gonna not be allowed anymore, because this Aquarian energy is a heart-centered energy, but it's got the balance between my needs and your needs. My cup needs to be full so that I can offer you real love and real support, not so that we can enable each other and stay in our trauma bonds and shit, so that we can heal from that, so that we can rise above it, realize our choice points, say, is this really the life that I want to live? No. Is this really the life that I want to live? Yes. You decide. Those are your choice points, okay? And so, again, finding that balance of like, what's going on outside, what's going on inside, what's mine, what's yours. It's a lot of separating yourself from what you think you are and what you think you know, stepping into the unknown and being excited and trusting. So again, with all of these energies that are stationing direct, we had Uranus stationing on Sunday, the 22nd, which again, there's that 2-2, there's that master number, guys. So again, like, oh my God. And Uranus rules Aquarius, right? So that's really important to understand, that Uranus rules Aquarius as well. So there's that big massive reset on January 22nd, which is that master number, which I actually wrote here somewhere. Yeah, I'm going to go into this because this is important. So 22. So the master number of 22, this is the architect of peace. So this is like signifying stability, grounded, and not moving too fast. So again, what did I just say about that Aquarian energy? We just had that Uranus reset going direct on January 22nd, which again is that architect of peace energy, mixed with that Aquarian energy, mixed with going from retrograde to shooting forward to direct. So within the next couple weeks, we'll really feel the pickup of this energy of moving forward. And again, these are the significant transits that are ushering us in the age of Aquarius, right? Like, this is the stuff that is supporting us to really step in and like energetically supporting us, right? Not just like, I don't know, like truly, genuinely supporting us is what I'm trying to say, you know? It's like when we hear, when we listen, when we can trust the cycles and the rhythms, and we can trust our own cycles and rhythms, and then we can work with them together, then we're in the flow. Then we get to stay in the flow. And even when we think we're not in the flow, we know we're in the flow because we're in the contraction phase. And it's like, it's fine. I'm just in the contraction phase. This is just part of the cycles, right? So again, these are the greater awarenesses that are going to be needing to be handed down to humanity at this time, really, is what's coming through. Because like, it's time to not be confused and lost anymore, and to just be given the knowledge that we deserve, that is ours. Okay, so just to recap, I have the 1 degree. So we have the 5 new moons in the 1 degree, 2 of them ending off last year, 1 of them happening this Aquarius new moon, super new moon, and then the next 2 finishing off this massive Aquarius reset. And then we have the sun that moved into Aquarius on January 21st, and then also Uranus stationing direct on January 22nd, and Uranus rules Aquarius. So moving into the age of Aquarius from the Piscean age, Uranus is the ruler of this moon, and it's ending its retrograde and stationing direct, moving forward. Lastly, Uranus is the final planet to station direct. Now we are to have a 3-month period where no planet is retrograde. Mars, January 12th, Mercury, January 18th. Aquarius, new moon on 1 degree on January 21st. And then Uranus, gone direct January 22nd. So we are at the pivot points of the 5 1-degree moons. So expect forward movement. Age of Aquarius. So here, I just have a little, hey, it's 44. Just a little blurb here for like what are the energies of the age of Aquarius. So we have the age of awakening, finding inventive solutions, looking to the future, leaving the past behind. It rules the 11th house, all about community, groups we belong and connect with. It connects us to the future, or with the future, long-range goals and humanitarian work. It's innovative, it's genius, eccentricity, unconventional, excitement, and freedom. And just to polish off this page, who are you spending your time or energy with? That is a real question. Who are you spending your time or energy with? Okay, then here, I just want to touch on Pluto real quick, because Pluto is moving into Aquarius after many years in Capricorn in March 2023. Now, this isn't for a couple of months, but this is around when we're going to start having more retrogrades, because that'll be about after this 3-month period, or it will be just before this 3-month period ends, okay? So Pluto conjunct to Aquarius new moon is foreshadowing this transition. So right now, we have Pluto conjunct to this Aquarius new moon, and it's foreshadowing that we are moving, that Pluto will be moving into Aquarius after many years in Capricorn. Now, Capricorn is an energy that corresponds with leadership, governments, our day-to-day tasks that need to be taken care of. It has a long-term view and perspective. It's leadership energy, right? So this and Pluto is transforming, purging, dismantling, and getting to the truth. So why I'm mentioning this is because basically Pluto is dismantling, and Pluto's in Capricorn, so it's dismantling our leadership, monarchy, governments, and corporations. So for the last few years, that is what we have been in, this Capricorn energy in Pluto. And I'm mentioning this because come March, it is going to be moving into Aquarius. So Aquarius keeps bringing us to the present moment, as that is where our genius resides. So again, it's like this Aquarius energy is coming through to keep bringing us back to the present moment, to keep thinking of our own individuality with the whole group while we're moving through the dismantling of the leadership roles that are happening in our world right now, right? And so this is all preparing us. So I wouldn't be surprised in the next 3 months if there's a lot of truth coming out in the news and in the media, and there's also going to be a lot of untruth. So again, this is why unplugging from all of this information is really going to help you, and just like go meditate and sit by a river and just like breathe and learn how to regulate your nervous system, because that is the work that you should be doing, instead of unregulating your nervous system by being bombarded with the news. And then when you need to know information, it comes to you. And that's how you live your life in trust, and not always trying to distract yourself from the present moment. Okay, so time to be determined. Catch ourselves when we are present and when we are not. Are our thoughts generated or created by us? It is time for fresh thoughts. Focus to become new. How? Coming back to the present moment, making necessary changes, and connecting to our breath. Okay. So I actually, what time do I have? Okay, I'm gonna go a bit over my hour mark, but I do want to mention this. So I was doing a little bit of numerology with just like 22 and 23, just like playing with that and understanding that. And so like 22, as I said, it's the architect of peace in numerology. So it's signifies stability, being grounded, not moving too fast, being intentional, receiving divinely guided action before you take action, right? And then a 2 and a 2 is a 4. 4 is all about foundations, and then 2 is all about balance. So it's like finding that balance with your foundation and to ground in your higher awarenesses and higher thoughts before you take the action, so that you're not creating residue in your field that you don't need, right? And so again, this is all very foundational concepts. And so that includes like inner child. Like 2022 was a whole year of inner child work, right? Or at least being shown the work that needs to be done, which again, that's why, which is just like refining the ego. It's like being able to connect to our higher self and not as much to our reptilian brain or to our fear, right? And so then 23, this is all about forward movement, because you have 2 and 3 consecutive numbers, and 2 and 3 equate to 5, and 5 is all about change, right? So last year was all about really understanding what our foundation is, what's serving us, what's not. And then this year is all about that forward movement, which is which will help us to connect in with being more like experimentative with like our communities, with reaching out to people, kind of reaching out with our intention of like breaking free, of liberating ourselves from anything that's kind of keeping us down, right? So that is what this year's energy is, with just the 2-3. And when we add the 2023, when we add the 2 to that, it equates to 7, which is what this whole year is about, which again is that connection to our spirituality, right? So again, it's changing us. It's like the same message with that Aquarian energy, with the 2, the 3, the 5, and the 7. It's like kind of the numerology and astrology are like mirroring each other, right? And like complementing each other. Okay, so we have rapid movement will help everything move fluidly and more contained. But also be aware to not leave any stone unturned. So the rapid movement must be balanced with the integrated 22 energy. So we have to be doing the inner work and the outer work, or we're going to get out of hand, because we're not keeping an eye on that Capricorn energy that we've been learning about, how to make sure that we're keeping attention to the detail, but also the big picture, right? So as this energy starts picking up, it's like, make sure that you're not forgetting to do the inner work, because then you're going to be veering away from the alignment of your highest path. And so to keep refining that and to keep bringing in your healing journey, to go within after things are happening, instead of just letting the momentum take you, right? So really integrating that stability and that groundedness and that not moving too fast while you're going through your experimentation and connecting in with community and exploring and liberating yourselves. And then, yeah, so we have no planets are retrograde, which means there are no blocks, nothing blocking us right now. So it's time to coast and to trust the divine. So we're healing our sacred masculine energies, each of us within ourselves. This isn't referring to anything outside of ourselves. This is our inner masculine, our sacred masculine energies. And they are transforming from aggressiveness to assertiveness. So we're taking out the poison is what I'm hearing. We're taking out the poison from the masculine's energy, because then when it is poisoned, it shows up as aggressiveness, and we're learning how to embody assertiveness instead. And that's when we just honor and respect our own boundaries, and we can take action and have direction and clarity without bleeding on anybody else, having the awareness of not of how you affect people around you, right? And then as we heal our sacred masculine, this will allow for our sacred feminine to feel safe and to express. So that just means that once we know who we are, once we feel assertive and we know, like, okay, sure of who we are, then we can feel safe to feel, right? Because that's the problem, is that none of us feel safe within ourselves to feel our emotions, because we don't actually feel safe to let ourselves feel our emotions. And so first step is to create a space. There's the masculine, is to create that space, and then you can fill it with the feminine, right? So the first step is that we're learning how to create the space. And the second that will naturally happen is that we will feel safe to express our feelings and our truth to ourselves, right? And then this is also tying in with 13, the number 13 coming back online. And so this is all about the organic templates coming back online. And at the beginning of this video, it was 5505. At the beginning of this video, I was talking about like the wounded masculine, and what was I talking about? The patriarch. I said something about the patriarch or something, and then I was like, well, actually, let me rephrase that, because that was a perfect example of like the energy we're shifting into, because we're starting to understand that the stories at play, the stories that we've been fed to, and the reality that we're living in, that we think that we're living in, actually isn't what we're living in at all, and that it's all a construct of our mind. And that's actually perfect leeway as to why I just explained to you the law of mentalism, right? And how all is in our mind, right? And this is how powerful our mind is. And so again, we're taking our mind back. They hijacked our mind and we're taking it back. And this is all part of, oh my God, this is Mary Magdalene and the amygdala. Okay, can't get into that today, way too much. But anyway, Mayan calendar, we're going to be connecting back in with the galactic calendar, and the galactic calendar connects in with the sky clock or astrology. And that's where we understand the age of Aquarius, and we talk about well, if you've ever heard me talk about the day and no time, and we talk about 13 moon cycles. Right now we have 12-month cycles, but every year within that we have two moon cycles within 1 month, which is called a blue moon. And so I guess we're reclaiming our blue moon. Oh my gosh, Evan, are you listening? We're reclaiming our blue moon. Oh my God, this is crazy. Okay, so, which has to do with the blue apple. Oh yeah, I talked about that last week with you guys, the blue apple. So maybe that's what the blue apple's all about, man. Something to do with Sirius and the freaking, okay, this is crazy. Okay, so anyway, so yes, the Mayan calendar, so we're going to this 13 moon cycle, which again, it's like just honoring the organic templates, right? It's like we're unplugging from all these stories that we've been fed that aren't even true, and we're just connecting back in with nature, right? So this is going to give insight into more understanding of awakening, embodying, and ushering in the Aquarian age. So the more that we connect in with the galactic calendar, the 13 moon cycles, and astrology, we're going to be able to gain more understanding and guidance as to what it is that we need to be doing here, right? Oh, so beautiful. So healing our inner landscape so we may watch the world flourish again. So perfect. Okay, I loved that. So I'm being guided to actually pull out of the Sacred Sight deck to see what wants to come through. Oh my God, in this rainbow. What is this all about? Okay. Let me see. Germany. Okay, well, this is the one that came out first, and I've had rainbows coming at me all day, so I'm just going to read it. Okay, liberation. Stop. You are drowning in murky waters. You need to be rescued. Norse legend tells of a huge sea snake, Jormungand, the world serpent, who encircled the earth by biting his own tail, like Ouroboros, the snake who represents the circle of life. It is said that when Yorgamon lets go, the world will end, yet the snake does not let go, but instead forever circles the world, ensuring that life goes on. As long as you keep learning, evolving, and moving on your path, you will be supported. Externstein is a place of great esoteric secrets, its true meaning baffling archaeologists. Perhaps you too have forgotten how to access your innate wisdom. The arrow-like symbol on the card is the Tiwaz, the Anglo-Saxon rune of the warrior god Tyr. It represents the culmination of many paths or points of view, 3 lines coming together, shown here rising out of waters of uncertainty and pointing towards awakened consciousness. Are you willing to sacrifice the comfort of the old familiar story that has limited you in the past and be set free? Well, goodness gracious. That was good. I'm going to continue. That was actually the past. That was a representation of the lower world. And now we're in the middle world. So this is the present. For the Teutonic people, the stone pillars of the Externstein were a place of pilgrimage. Today, many believe that the 12th century carving at the Externstein of the Descent from the Cross contains a representation of Irminsul, the world tree that holds up the universe and embodies the sacred energy of the cosmos. It is said by some that Irminsul once existed at this very site, but in the 8th century, the Christianizing emperor Charlemagne destroyed the pagan culture here. Has a part of you been destroyed or taken away? Whether this refers to a form of belief, have you changed your opinions to suit a partner or family member? Your position in the world? Have you taken on a more subservient role in a relationship or a way of life? Have you become more materialistic? Know that you are free to go back to what is true to your heart. You are the only power that you need. When you recognize this, your gifts of old will resurface. It was 101:11. Okay, so upper world, this is your potential. You are called upon to embrace the possibilities of magic and the occult, to be open to powers that may seem otherworldly or the stuff of fantasy, such as telepathy, mediumship, shape-shifting, remote viewing, and lucid dreaming. To access these abilities, start by focusing on the Rainbow Bridge to Asgard, home of the gods. The Rainbow Bridge links the lower, middle, and upper worlds and frees us to travel between these realms. Our pagan ancestors knew the importance of seeing the world from many perspectives. Will you be able to walk across the Rainbow Bridge to the realm of the enlightened ones, or will you be imprisoned by a narrow-minded outlook? Tiwaz points you in the right direction. Upward. Oh my goodness. And it was just 1:02 just as I did that on the time. Okay, I'm going to read this. And honestly, that is it. And then we have Know Thyself, Oracle at Delphi. That's it. That is all I'm going to do for this week because that was quite beautiful. Ooh, Mount Tai. Yin and Yang. Okay, well, we'll see. I might read that one too. Okay, Invocation of Asgard. Read the following words with ceremony as you venture on a magical inner journey to the realm of Asgard. As rainbow colors swirl around, I look up to Asgard, then look down. Below I see the murky pool of chaos. I have been a fool. To try to make it on my own. Instead, I grow weak, I cry and groan. Time to regroup, start again. I call upon the gods of men, who once were honored day and night for strength and valor, force and might. I call upon the gods of old, warriors who were brave and bold, and ask that you accompany me across that deep and murky sea to rise up within the rainbow bright and journey until the land's in sight. O Asgard, I call upon you. The myth, the legend, it's all true. This I know deep in my heart, and here my journey now doth start. Exterstein, Germany. Exterstein, Germany. Very interesting. Okay, Mount Tai. $126. Okay, so Mount Tai. Achievement. And this is in Shandong, China. So the lower world. What have you learned about duality? See the Tiatu, the yin and yang symbol on the card that represents perfect balance and reflects the necessity to live fully. If we only listen to one version of a story, that God is male, for example, our life is imbalanced. Dark and light, moon and sun, death and life are some of the yin and yang paired energies. There are no right or wrong elements. How do you perceive the energy of the dragon on which the Tiatu is placed? A Chinese dragon embodies wisdom, power, and good fortune, a positive perspective, and yet in the West, the dragon is seen as a negative, destructive being that must be slain. Maybe you need to bring some dragon energy into your life to burn through obstacles and fire you up to reach your goals. To advance spiritually, you must understand the concept of yin and yang and bring your world into balance. Middle world, present. Would the thought of scaling 7,200 steps deter you from trying to reach the mountaintop? Chinese emperors and millions of more humble pilgrims have been visiting sacred Mount Tai for over 3,000 years. Focus on the south gate to heaven that leads to the summit and think of your life's journey. Have you had a clear run up the mountain or taken a meandering path to explore different teachings along the way? Has your journey been hard and painful, or are you still waiting at the bottom, wondering what the point is? Now is the chance to investigate why your life may appear difficult sometimes. Are you willing to seek a different perspective? You have a choice. You can walk up the path that the feet of many others have created, or start your own route and feel the incredible sense of achievement when you reach the summit your own way. Upper world, potential. At the top of the mountain awaits Kuan Yin, goddess of mercy, offering sympathy, compassion, and insight. It is her sacred duty to relieve suffering, helping those who ask her to remove pain and fear. When did you last ask the gods and goddess for help? When did you last call upon your ancestors or spirit guides? Most people are too proud to do so. If you ask her, Kuan Yin will help you to heal, show you how to free yourself from a painful heart, and teach you compassion. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, look up as you climb the sacred mountain, and you will see Kuan Yin smiling, encouraging you to keep going. On the path of enlightenment, you will be offered the opportunity to let go of all of your burdens, so that when you reach the top, you are free of everything that has been weighing you down, a blessed and welcome achievement. Prayer to Kuan Yin. The following prayer to Kuan Yin is a reminder that despite your challenges, what you put your mind to, you can achieve. Whether you are dealing with the day-to-day demands of holding down a job, running a home, and keeping the family together, or engaging with one of life's bigger projects, let the following words be a reminder that you can prevail. Repeat them at night before you go to sleep. An arduous journey I have walked, and though I question what's been taught, I take courage by the strength in me. I know I can change what I can see. For Yang must again be joined by Yin to find the light, allowed darkness in. To rise the goddess and see her in all, I need not let the God side fall. Kuan Yin, come take a walk with me, be my light so I may see. Steady my resolve so I needn't stop, and help me reach my mountain top. I love that. Beautiful. Okay, and then we have this Oracle of Delphi. Let me check and see. 86, if I want to. I think I do, yeah. Yep. Okay, and this is the last one, and it's 1:08 on the time, of course. So, know thyself, Oracle of Delphi. So, wisdom. This is in Greece. So, the lower world, past. Know thyself. This teaching was embraced by the mystery schools of the ancient world, whose secrets were withheld from all but initiates, and was engraved in the temple of Apollo at Delphi. Self-knowledge is the root of all advancement. This card invites you now to be completely honest with yourself. Do you acknowledge your fears, worries, and doubts, or do you sweep them under the carpet? Can you admit your real likes and dislikes, desires, resentments, and sorrows? You are being asked to take off your mask and reveal your true self. Once you lay yourself bare, you will learn what you need to know in order to heal and grow. When you truly know yourself, nothing and no one can overpower you. Knowing yourself is the ultimate wisdom. And this is the middle world, the present. As you look at the depiction of the ruins at Delphi on this card, do you hear the whispers of your inner oracle as it summons your soul back to your temple with prophetic words and visions? Here, Pythia, the great oracle of Delphi, received messages from the sun god, Apollo. She shared her prophecies with all who sought knowledge, and rich offerings were made to this revered wise woman. Yet eventually the oracle's reputation waned, following invasions by barbarians and an earthquake in 83 BCE. Pythia asks now that you reconnect with the seer within you. It is time to summon your psychic abilities, perhaps starting with the exercise at the end of this page. It is time to become an oracle to yourself and others. Do not fear your own abilities. Trust your visions and share your prophecies in the knowledge that in so doing, Apollo supports you, offering you a sacred symbol of victory, the laurel crown. And the upper world, potential. The sun god Apollo shines on you. It is said he claimed Delphi, the navel of the earth, after slaying the earth deity Python, a great serpent. The sanctuary of Pythia, the oracle of Delphi, was built over the hole in the ground where Python fell. From here, his energy vapors rose, inducing the trance and euphoria. You are being called now to seek out a sacred place where you can rest quietly and listen to the messages from your soul. Connect with the light, not just with those rays from the fiery orb of the skies, but also with the glow that radiates from inside you. Build your power, feel your confidence soar, prepare yourself to expand. Are you reluctant to speak up, always feeling that others are wiser than you? Know that your previous experience, your knowledge, and your deep wisdom qualify you to make your voice heard. So, consultation of the oracle. Take a deep breath in and out and imagine a bright light where your stomach is. Now, while continuing to breathe steadily, expand this light through your whole body. See yourself radiating like the sun. Look down and notice your light penetrating the ground. Follow the light down, deep into a cave, where the words, "I have been waiting for you," whisper in your ears. You see an old woman and she invites you to be seated. This is your inner oracle, appearing to give you the answers you need. She asks only that you are honest and invites you to reveal whatever you want. Your dreams, desires, fears, doubts, regrets. Whenever you have finished speaking to her, she tells you that she wishes to restore your belief in yourself. She assures you that you are safe, that the worst is behind you, that it is time for your abilities to be restored and demonstrated to you in signs and messages in your daily life. When you feel ready to return, travel back up the light and allow it to swirl all around you, forming a shell of protection that will remain with you. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Anything else that I'd like to say for this week? Okay. So I just want to end this off with this amazing realization that I had the other day, because my friend was struggling with what she was going through. And I realized that she's always trying to get this higher understanding, which is great. But then we don't leave the space for like the human to like actually process the experience and to go through those emotions. We're just like trying to intellectualize the experience so that we don't have to feel it. And so what I said to her was that with what it is that she went through, like the first thing that she needs to acknowledge is that that she actually was a victim, that she is a victim in that situation, And that is where the suffering has come from. And so the first step in healing is recognizing that you really were a victim in that, because I've realized that over the years, as I've been in this spiritual whirlwind of healing, I've been empowering myself, or trying to empower myself, through rising out of this victim consciousness. But in doing that, I actually kept myself in the victim consciousness because I wasn't actually acknowledging that I was a victim. And so I was denying that aspect, which then didn't allow for me to really understand how the experiences were serving me, because they were trapped in my nervous system, trapped in my psyche, my mental body, my emotional body, my physical body. And I wasn't able to break out of that understanding just with my mind. And so what I wrote is that humans have to first acknowledge that it happened and that they were a victim. And then we can understand why it happened and how we can understand that it's there to help us grow and evolve. But first we have to acknowledge that it happened and how we truly feel about it. Okay? So that is that for this week. So I hope that you enjoyed, and I'm sending you all the love, and I will see you next week with a bunch more information for you. All the love. Bye.